Hello and welcome, friends. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're back, welcome back. I greatly appreciate all of the ongoing support. This is my channel, Dragonsjewel Creative Gems, and I'm Tegan. And of course, I'm going to get all that wonderful YouTubey stuff out of the way first. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please consider doing so. It's just down below there. And of course, if you like the content that you see, don't forget to hit that like button as well. It's in around there. And any love, comments, suggestions, all those wonderful things, there's that comment section down there as well. Today, we are going to be doing a whip and chat. And for those that may not know what that is, WIP just stands for work in progress. And that can be any crafty project. I myself am working on starting a new diamond painting here. And that's usually what I do during my whip and chats, and you just kind of listen along. If you want, you can even clean your house, get things done. It doesn't necessarily have to be a crafty project, whatever you decide. And I just catch everybody up on kind of the last 2 weeks and all that wonderful stuff. So I'm going to dive in here, get started. Yeah, so this one that I'm working on, I actually got from JBFKE a while ago. And I had placed my order, and then it was one of those where if you spend so much, you can add in a free mystery canvas. So I selected that, and this is the canvas that I got for my mystery canvas. I just pull back my washi here a bit, but that is the image. It's kind of like a lady in the forest. So I just called it Woman Forest. I keep it simple. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how she turns out. I'm just starting her. I had finished my other owl canvas that I'd been working on. It was just a small little 30 by 30 one. Yeah, so I've just kind of been going through some of my low budget ones because it's been a while since I've worked on them. And I've just felt like working on some smaller pieces lately. I've been working on a lot of my larger canvases. And it's just nice sometimes to switch it up and take a break. So that's of course what I've done. Let's see, 2 weeks ago, because I do my whip and chats for those who are new to the channel. I do my whip and chats every second week. And they're usually alternated with a Ghostly Echo series style whip and chat where I read ghost stories from Alberta currently. Eventually I'm going to get through those, eventually, like I'm towards the end-ish. I think there's probably going to be another episode or two probably, I'm guessing, roughly, of the Alberta ones, and then I will be switching up provinces. So I alternate those basically. So you always have some sort of whip and a chat to follow. It's just a matter of whether it's ghost stories or me catching everybody up on things. Sorry, I just got a drill here that I'm fighting with that's obviously got some fatter than the rest because it's got a little bit of an edge to it. I like to get rid of those because they can cause popping drills. Yeah, okay. So back on track here. My 2 weeks would have been about May 10th. So we are kind of going May 10th and forward, which would have been pretty much Mother's Day weekend that weekend. My own mom was away. She went to her cottage in Nova Scotia, and then they did a little side trip over to Newfoundland, which I was super thrilled for them to be able to take that kind of extra little detour on their vacation. They're coming back home at the end of May here, so they're still gone for, I think, what is that, like another week or so? Roughly, another week, maybe. Something like that. Either way, they've been gone for a bit. They went right at the beginning of May. So they've been gone almost an entire month. Lucky them. Getting to enjoy that much time away, but that happens when you're retired. You get that opportunity. So yeah, that last Mother's Day, not much was going on. I just kind of spent it with the hubby and the kid and the pupper. We didn't really do much for it, other than kind of just spend time together, which is fine. I'm okay with that. We did go to the off-leash dog park though, because our pupper spring, summer, whatever you want to call it, has hit her radar, and so she gets a little bit not that she doesn't go out in winter. I mean, she's a German Shepherd Husky mix. She loves winter, but she gets a little bit more of the spring fever, wanting to be outside all the time vibe. So it had been a while since we had taken her to an off-leash dog park to just kind of let her stretch her legs and run and play. And since we had to say goodbye to our older man who kind of kept her company at home and all of that, she's been missing having another dog around. So it kind of gave her a chance to socialize with other dogs too this way. So of course we took her to the off-leash dog park for that. And she was thrilled. She enjoyed herself. Found a couple of puppers that she, you know, socialized with, said hi, all that good stuff. While we were there, my husband was trying to do a little bit of filming. He's been doing a little bit of kind of some video vlog style stuff occasionally for his channel, especially with the dog. When we're out, he's kind of started a little bit in Jasper. And it was really, really cute because our son, as I had mentioned from that trip, had kind of taken the camera and was having fun, and so we figured we'd let him do that at the dog park. And so we had handed over the camera to him, and he had his back turned because Dad was instructing him and handing it to him. So of course he was facing Dad and had his back turned to a couple that had two dogs. I'm not sure what the one was, maybe like a lab cross of some sort, and then the other one was a Newfoundlander dog, or as I like to call Newfie. A Newfie dog. That's the type of dog that I grew up with. They are massive furry beasts and often are gentle and very docile and very, very sweet dogs. But they sometimes are not aware of how big they are. So this one was definitely true to that stereotype. Didn't know how big he was, didn't realize how big he was, and apparently the couple said he loves kids and they don't have any. So every time they're out and he sees any sort of kid, he gets super excited, and so he saw our little man from across the field and came bolting over, just trying to say hi. But momentum ended up taking him straight into our son and took his legs out from under him, and of course he went up and then down, which, because he didn't realize this dog was running up to say hi to him, kind of took him by surprise, but you can't blame the little guy. I would be surprised if all of a sudden I was getting a camera from Dad and then down on the floor on my keister kind of thing in the middle of a field. Yeah, I'd be a little bit surprised too if I were him. So definitely don't blame him there. It spooked him more than anything, but the couple felt bad. They came over and they're like, "Oh my God, is he okay?" And they were very, very worried. And I said, "Oh, he's fine. He's just, it spooked him because he had his back turned and he wasn't expecting." And they kept apologizing profusely. And of course I asked, "Is it okay if you kind of, you know, stay, and then when he calms down, we'll introduce them to each other." To kind of leave it on a positive note. I try to like to do that because I don't want him to remember being bowled over by this massive dog and then all of a sudden he has a fear of massive dogs when really they're just a little overexcited and overzealous on saying hello. So they were really, really good. They stayed and chat for a bit, let him kind of calm down, and then they held on to the Newfie anyways. The other one was a little bit more calmer in their hellos. So they kind of just held on to the Newfie, and then we brought our son closer when he was ready, and then let him kind of pet him and said, see, you know, he's a nice dog. He just really wanted to say hi. And so we kind of left it on that positive note for him. I'm glad the couple was willing to, you know, kind of stay with us a few extra minutes so that we could do that. But yeah, definitely took the poor guy by surprise. He was fine, like I said. It just more was unexpected and kind of scared him more than anything, that all of a sudden he was flat on the ground and not by his own doing. Yeah, so there was that. But it was a good little dog park. Lots of dogs were out that day, and it was actually really cool. We ran into one which I'd never seen this crossbreed before, but it was really interesting. And I'm gonna call it this crossbreed because that's what it really looks like to me, and the lady who owns the dog kind of thought so too, but she wasn't 100% sure. But it was a golden retriever Irish wolfhound mix, which was really, really interesting because you would look at this dog and, like, if you're going by the long coat, the color of the fur, all of that, 100% golden retriever. Like the long blonde, kind of a little bit of red in there, fur. But then the actual body and head shape was more like an Irish wolfhound, that kind of tall, long, lean, and even like the size was bigger than your traditional golden retriever. So it was a really unusual mix, but absolutely gorgeous dog. Absolutely gorgeous dog for sure. So yeah, that's what we did on Mother's Day. We did a little dog, off-leash dog park jaunt. And then came home and didn't really do much. Just kind of relaxed, all that good stuff. The week following that, I had the one morning that I had to take my son to go see his peds doctor, and that was just kind of a general follow-up where he was on some GERD kind of meds that we were giving him once a day, and we've been noticing lately we haven't had any issues with him kind of vomiting or throwing up or kind of signs of GERD that we were seeing, so we discussed the possibility of stopping that med with his ped, and she figured he should be old enough now to stop the med. So it's been a little over a week, I would say, since we stopped that med to see how it goes, and she said, well, we should know fairly soon if, you know, he really does need it still. So we're hoping that he can come off that, because that's just one less thing that he has to have, which is always what we're aiming for, if we can. So yeah, that's something new that we did. And then of course we just discussed our upcoming trip with her when we're taking him out to Nova Scotia this summer once classes end, making sure that we have the letter for all of his G-tube formula, because for how long we're going, we have to take about 2.5 cases of his food with us, and it's recommended that we bring it as carry-on, because if it's not something that, if our luggage gets lost, we can replace while we're out there. It would be a means of, oh crap, our luggage is lost, we have to go home. Right, kind of thing. So it's a lot to take, but because it's medically necessary, there's some documentation that we have to make sure, so I kind of discussed, oops, sorry, slamming my pen down. We have to kind of discuss that with her to get a letter, so I did that. Made sure that all his prescriptions were renewed, and she sent that off to the pharmacist, so we have all of that updated. And I think other than stopping that one med, dosages haven't changed or anything like that for his puffers. We're still kind of needing them. I think that'll kind of be a long-term thing for him, unfortunately. Which is okay, it happens. I mean, not much you can do there. He's got a little bit of kind of asthma that he deals with, so it kind of keeps things under control. And since he's so active, he does tend to use them and go through them on a somewhat regular basis, too. Let's see. So that was pretty much our week. Him doing his usual school. Just had to do the one morning where I took him to his peds appointment, then dropped him off at school afterwards. Which he takes a bus into school and absolutely loves that, but he also enjoys his car rides. So he wasn't too disturbed by the whole thing, other than having to sit at the doctor's office and have her, you know, listen to his heart and try to take his blood pressure and little things like that they do. Which for some reason, ever since he was little, like preemie little, they've never been able to pick up his blood pressure very easily when they have been able to. But there are times where they absolutely cannot for the life of them get a reading for some reason with him. It's been this way for as long as I can remember, and of course that was the case at that appointment, which is always fun. But it happens. They're kind of used to it, and generally aren't too worried because he hasn't had any issues with it in the past, so it's kind of one of those things that it is what it is. So then, yeah. And then I ended up getting access for another new upcoming game and ended up doing a whole whack of playtesting again for the developers that I do playtesting for. Frozen Way, Frozen District, they're sister companies, and I do a bunch of playtesting for games for them as they kind of come up, and they have some and all that good stuff. And so this one was one called Chernobyl Liquidators, and it kind of follows a nuclear explosion and the outfall of it, and you're going up. They kind of have you going as kind of the unsung heroes of the story. So you start off as kind of like a firefighter, and then you're fighting the fires where the explosion happens and investigating. You're going through and you're kind of in service, so you're going up and you're cleaning up town sites and checking for radiation and cleaning up radiation and all that, so you wear like gas masks and stuff like that. And you kind of got to watch your health and stamina and your radiation levels and all of that and all that good stuff. So yeah, I was playtesting that. That was really, really interesting. It's coming out on Steam, so I mean, if you do like the game and that kind of sounds interesting to you, I haven't told you anything that you can't see in the trailers for it, or pictures of it, and general description of it kind of thing. But yeah, it was an interesting play. I kind of wish we could have playtested a little bit longer, but I mean, they do want to get it out to everybody too at the same time. So yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. I did that for a couple of days anyways. And then my aunt came back on the 17th from her Paris-Vancouver trip. She went to Vancouver, as I had mentioned, to meet up with her granddaughter and daughter-in-law. And then they all went to Paris together from there. It looked like they had a fabulous trip. It sounded like they had a fabulous trip. She brought back 2 different shot glasses for me as a souvenir, which is awesome. I have a little kind of shot glass collection from different places that friends and family have traveled to and brought back for me. It's a fun little collection. But yeah, so she came back and then she did her usual, what she calls Riley time, which is my son. She likes to visit, and because she'd been away, she actually came twice. She came on the Sunday and then again on Wednesday. But on the Sunday, while she was away, she had come across a Spider-Man costume, which my son doesn't necessarily watch the show, but he loves Spider-Man. And I don't know if it's just the red or the idea, all of that, but he absolutely loves this costume. He loved it so much that he put it on right away that day, which my aunt was happy because she could see that, you know, it was a little bit big on him still, but it fit. So perfect. He'll grow into it nicely by Halloween, or worst case scenario, he's got room to bundle up, which sometimes does happen here where I am, because we can get our first dump of snow sometimes by that time. So he was thrilled. He had put it on right away. He wore it all day. All day. We had to convince him to take it off for supper so that he wouldn't get food all over it. And then he wore it the second he got up on Sunday, or not Sunday, on the Monday, because it was the long weekend at this point, or May long weekend. He was right back in it the second he woke up. That's how much he loves this costume. Once again, wore it all day. We would have to get him to take it off occasionally for certain activities and things, because we don't want it getting dirty either necessarily right now. So yeah, he was once again living in it all day Sunday or Monday. After living in it all day Sunday, he lived in it Tuesday, but I had to convince him to take it off so that we could go to his eye doctor appointment. He had Tuesday off of, he's had Tuesday and Wednesday off school here. Monday was the long weekend, so naturally school was closed, but then I think it was like a PD day and a non-instructional day or something like that. I don't know, but it gave him basically a 5-day weekend, which worked fine, because Tuesday we had his eye doctor appointment in the afternoon, because he wears glasses for being a little bit of a lazy eye and kind of farsighted kind of thing, so it just kind of helps strengthen his muscles at this point, so that his one eye doesn't kind of wobble, and then helps him see that distance. Up close, he's fine, no issues there. Nothing too concerned about. They're even saying that probably in time he won't necessarily even need the glasses, just right now it's kind of there to help strengthen and kind of get him where he needs to be on track kind of thing. So we had that appointment. That was fairly easy. They just kind of did the measurements and saw where things were at. We're still wearing the glasses every day. That hasn't changed. He's really great about wearing them. Yeah, so he's been off. He finally went back to school today, which I was more than ready for. He's a very active, go. Has to constantly be doing something. And if he's not, he gets bored and then looks for trouble, so he can be quite the handful when he's home. Not to mention, I call him my little tornado, because wherever he goes, a mess is left behind. He's constantly just kind of leaving things out or throwing them on the floor or whatever. And because he's so go, 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 he just keeps going and it piles up, and I can get him to clean up some of it, but then his attention span kind of wavers and goes, and he loses interest, and then he pretty much, that's it. That's about all you're getting him to do, is that little bit of help. But then he's, once again, back at whatever, making a mess. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with. So I'm glad when he goes back to school, because I can kind of get some of that under control a little bit easier. Get some cleaning up done so there's less toys all over the house. Living room, dining room table, that kind of thing. I mean, yes, they come back out when he's home from school, but it's toned down compared to when he's off for multiple days in a row. And it just looks like a war zone of toys. Pretty much. Toys and stuffies, because when he's home, he takes every single stuffy out of his room, and they either end up sitting at our dining room table, out on the couch, wherever he decides they need to be, pretty much. Yeah, so it's real fun when he's home. It's definitely also very tiring, so yes, I'm always happy when he goes back. He's happy when he goes back because he gets that stimulation from school, he learns, he gets to see his friends, all that good stuff. Yeah, and he's very much a routine type kid. Take him out of those routines and he's got to process new things, he's got to process. It's a real fun. And it's a very step-by-step process with him too, with stuff like that. So sometimes you gotta kind of warm him up to things. Now, so that ends up bringing me now to the current day. Next week, Tuesday, we have my son's surgery. I've mentioned it before that we were waiting for this surgery date, and it's the second surgery that he'll be having of the same kind. He's already had this done once before, and what it is back when he had his trach, he had to have 2 different airway surgeries done on his trach, in around his vocal cord area, and one was, the first one, they had taken a piece of his rib, I think it was cartilage, I want to say, and they had to reinforce his trachea area so that it would actually stay open, because essentially when he had his trach, he was breathing through a pinhole. So if the trach came out, obviously he couldn't breathe. All that wonderful stuff we went through when he was little, because he came so early. But yeah, so he had to have 2 airway surgeries. The first one was that, and then his second one was dealing with some kind of reinforcing that other side with some extra muscle, and helping it keep open a little bit more, and dealing with some of the inflammation, and getting that to a point where we were able to finally get rid of his trach, and he was breathing on his own without it. Yeah, so that was a wonderful, long, almost 3-year journey. With that, the first year of which he was in the hospital before he came home. So yeah, he's got a long, complicated history. I do have an older wip and chat where I do talk about it. But yeah, anyways, during that second airway surgery, they don't want them moving so that the area can kind of heal and everything heal properly and in place, doesn't get shifted, moved around, that sort of thing too much. So they have them sedated, and it was at a point where he was so reactive to our voices that it was better for us to not actually be there during that time, because even though he was sedated, he would hear us talking to the nurses or the doctors or each other, and he would shift and move himself even with the sedation. So it was one of those things where it was best if we weren't there for his healing for those first few days. And so we trusted, of course, you know, the doctors, because bed sores and all of that kind of thing, that they would shift and move him. And they did say that they did that. The only problem is, apparently it wasn't enough, because he ended up getting a really, really bad bed sore on the back of his head. To the point that it completely destroyed all his hair follicles in that area. Which, of course, yes, we brought up the neglect afterwards, and said we would, like, you know, we weren't necessarily, like, steaming mad, but we would rather, like, they should have had memory foam or something there to help cushion as well, other than what they just had on top of things. So we said we'd rather them, you know, take this as a learning experience, you know, take this as an example of what can happen, that sort of thing. Like, we'd rather see that outcome than sitting there arguing and fighting and payment and all of that, right? Like, we did that a couple times on our journey where we're like, just take this as a learning experience. Great for your staff and that kind of thing. And just use this to do better for the next patient who has to go through like this kind of thing, right? So needless to say, because it destroyed his hair follicles all in that area, he ended up with a fairly large bald spot at the back of his head. Over the years, we kind of figured out when would be the best time to deal with it, and how do we deal with it. Is there something that can even be done for it, that kind of thing, and if so, what would be recommended for his age, situation, and damage that was done to the area. So he was basically put into a peds plastic surgeon consult, and what the solution is to go in. They remove any scar tissue that they need to, and they basically take that skin and they pull it as taut together as they can, without overstretching, and it gets stitched right back up, and then it heals. And over, depending on the size, they're not sure how many times they're going to have to do this. They've already done this once. He still has a decent size bald spot. So now he's got this. This will be his second one coming up on Tuesday, where they're going to go in again and do some more, because now it's healed for like a year. And so they can kind of take it, and it's new, fresh skin, and it isn't overworked and all of that. So now they can kind of do that process again. Hopefully they'll be able to completely pull it together this time, where there'll be no bald spot around. Of course, but that's not something we'll know until closer to. But that is a day surgery, and it's an in and out process. So Monday we'll get the call sometime saying when our OR time is and when to be there. We already have all the instructions on when to stop feeds, when to stop, you know, liquids, that sort of thing, to get him up, because yes, they do put him under, so he'll be under anesthesia, but it is just a day. He will get discharged and come home later that day. Usually it's like late afternoon, dinner time-ish that we get out of there, because we're usually in one of the first slots in the morning, or one of the first OR times in the morning. And then, yeah, it's usually a little bit of OR time, and then of course we're in the back room. He wakes up, and then we have to kind of wait to get discharged and all that wonderful stuff, and then for them to come out and update us on where things are at, that sort of thing. Talk to the surgeon afterwards and how things went, and all our, you know, if he needs pain meds, this for X amount, because he's on anesthesia, keep a close eye on for the effects of that as it wears off, all that wonderful stuff. We've done it before, but you know, you go through the process. So yeah, that'll be coming up here on next week, Tuesday. That'll be a long day at the hospital for all of us, because usually once he wakes up from his surgery, he is roaring to go, even though we can't yet. So usually we can kind of distract him a little bit in our little waiting area, but then he starts wanting to get up and walk around, and so usually we kind of get permission, of course, from the aftercare nurses in the area. Do you mind if we walk up and down the hallway here? We won't leave the unit, kind of thing. So yeah, that'll happen, and that'll probably be me and Dad taking turns doing that, because he won't stop until we're pretty much released, with the occasional coaxing back to the our sitting spot to switch off or whatever, convince him he needs a diaper change or water or something. Or maybe just sit for a minute or two before he's roaring to go again. Yeah, so not looking forward to that, but also at the same time something I'm also ready to be over and done with. It's just kind of one of those things. And like I said, it'll be a long day at the hospital. So that'll be where I'll be on Tuesday. I will, of course, make sure that I've got my Monday, Wednesday video out that I normally do. And hopefully I'll be able to get my Friday one in, although I may have to alternate to an unboxing or small shop or something like that, just to kind of fill the gap depending how his recovery goes, because he's definitely going to end up having Wednesday off school, maybe Thursday, maybe, hard to say, likely Thursday. Friday is kind of up in the air on whether or not he'll be in school or not, so either I'll try to get up like another unboxing video or something, and at least have that in so that you still have a video for Friday. But yeah, we won't know till closer to what that looks like. I mean, I would like to consistently keep it my whatever, whether it would be the whip and chat or the ghostly echoes. I'd like to keep that for sure, but that's not always possible, as he'll be at home recovering, and I'll have to kind of keep an eye on him for pain, keep an eye on the healing, make sure he's not bumping it, being too crazy, that sort of thing. That's always a task in itself. So yeah, that kind of catches everybody up to the 2 weeks. And that now leaves me with kind of channel news and updates. I've got tons of unboxings, I've got a couple of small shops, and some post reviews in my little cache folder of videos to edit and get out. So definitely lots of great stuff coming there. I received my witch casket yesterday, so I've got to film that unboxing, and that'll show up when I do, because I usually like to try to get those out right away because they're a monthly subscription box. What else? I recently did a Your Suggestions Matter post on the community tab, so if you didn't see that, you can go and read that, or you can reply under this video. That works too. And basically, I'm saying your suggestions matter, so I want to hear from you what you'd like to see for this channel, if there's, whether it's a certain type of video or a tip or a trick that you would like to know more about that I haven't already filmed. And I had kind of thrown out a bunch of ideas. A Patreon account so that you can support the channel with some monetary donations. I threw that out there. I threw out a community Facebook group so that we can all interact and share whips and stuff like that, and kind of get to know each other better. A P.O. box for Happy Mail. So yeah, I kind of threw out a bunch of different ideas. So basically that kind of gets you up and thinking about things that, you know, other channels do, how you'd like to best support this channel, because your suggestions matter. I don't want to necessarily just put something up and hope you'll do it. I want it to be something that you guys want for the channel and would support as well going forward, that kind of thing. And I also, like, I want to look at, you know, ways that I can enhance the channel and grow it and all that wonderful stuff, and kind of really build a community around it. So I did have a suggestion for the Facebook group, so I did create that. I will link that down below, and right now there's a couple of people in there already. They've started sharing some whips and completions, and I have also created, under kind of the feature tab there, an easy cheat sheet for all my discount codes and affiliate links. I've also added my Amazon wishlist as kind of like a featured tab item so that they're easy access if you're in the Facebook group as well, and so that you don't always have to necessarily go back and look at a video and try to find that. So definitely join that. Want to see that grow as well. Want to start getting to know some of you. Would love to see what everybody's working on that way. And then of course, if any events are run in the future, that would be the place that we could share all of that too. So yeah, I will link that up. Definitely check that out, join up, all that good stuff. The other suggestion was for a P.O. box for Happy Mail, so I have set that up. I have posted that information in the Facebook group, but I will also post that under this video as well. So if there is something that you would love to send the channel to support the channel, it is parcel and bubble mailers only. If you're including a card, it has to be in a bubble mailer or parcel with some other items. That's just because that's the type of postal box that is accessible for me and affordable at this point in time. So yeah, that's kind of the route that I had to go there. But yeah, that is now set up. So yeah, all I ask is if you do decide to do that, to add a little note of some sort or give me a heads up that you're sending something so that I can properly thank you. And of course, when I share it on my channel, I can give you a little shout out. If you are another content creator and want your YouTube channel shouted out at that time as well, you can definitely include that, and I'd be happy to do so. Because I love to support other content creators when I can, and that's definitely one great way to do it. So yeah, there will be that, and then Diamond Grandma ended up doing a shout out for me in this channel, which was very, very sweet of her. And so I woke up the one morning and my subscriber count had bumped right up, I still have the numbers kind of trickling in, so we are now at 397 subscribers, which is amazing. I love that. Like I said, that was very sweet of her to give the shout out and tell people to come over and check out, and I welcome everybody who has, and I hope you enjoy this channel as much as I enjoy creating these films. These videos. I have my own language going on most of the time. Eek. But yeah, so that's amazing. My next goal for a giveaway is 500, so that definitely is a huge help towards that. And if you're new to the channel, if there's somebody that you think will enjoy this content or this channel, definitely pass along the information. I want to hit that 500 so I can do that giveaway for you guys. I basically do up a little goodie box of goodies. It's usually stuff that I personally don't use in the diamond painting but have collected. There's things like washi tape that I include. The last one I included a special drill canvas that I had accidentally bought more than one of. Cover minders that I have duplicates of or just aren't my style, but are still great to use. What else have I included? I've included pens in the past, like diamond painting pens, not these super expensive hand-turned ones, but like ones off Amazon or that kind of thing. Or if I have a duplicate, or if they're not quite, because I like a thicker one if they're a little bit on the skinnier side, that sort of thing. Ones that I had kind of first started out with, and are now have discovered the sizing for the pens that I like. So definitely you do get a very lovely little goodie box full of stuff. That's usually what I do for kind of my prize giveaways. I also usually toss in a $25 kind of Visa, prepaid Visa kind of thing, so then you can do some shopping at Temu, Amazon, AliExpress. You can shop your favorite Etsy store for a diamond painting accessory, or you can help put that cost towards a premium canvas. Or if you're not a premium canvas person and you're a low budget friendly person and you shop at JBFKE or FG Normal or those kind of sites, it's just a little something to help you get something as well for yourself that you're choosing out on top of all the little goodies that I'm sending. And I usually include a handmade card, which is in kind of a scrapbook style, with a little thank you note as well. So I would say they are nice little goodie bags that I've done. So yeah, that'll kind of be what I'm looking at next. And I think that's really about it for the channel. I still have some filming I haven't managed to get done yet for unboxings as well. Like there's ongoing. I try to weave that out, of course. Like I said, I kind of set up this little folder. When I film it, I put it in that folder, and then I go in that folder and edit and then schedule them out for my Monday, Tuesday, or my Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos. Sometimes, you've probably noticed, I'll toss in a Tuesday or Thursday, sometimes even Saturday or Sunday, like rarely, but sometimes. Especially like for my Art Dot freestyle stickers where I was showing all of them, and I kind of wanted to do that back to back, but I had other videos that I wanted out for that Wednesday, Friday, so then sometimes I'll squish it in on the Tuesday or the Thursday to kind of still show you what I want to show you and show like my post reviews and completions that kind of really matter, like that, where if they're a two-parter or part of a series or something like that. Yeah. So, I think that's about it. Lots of exciting things. I really want to hear those suggestions. Yeah. So definitely make sure you include that down in the comment section below. Or you can even do it over on the community tab if you can find that post. I did a lovely kind of very simple but very lovely your suggestions matter kind of picture for that post. So it should stand out in the community tab if you do look for it there. Yeah, and I of course will see everybody in the next video with something new. Have a great day. Bye.